Welcome to the How to Quit Working show. This is the only show that brings you awesome people just like you who got sick and tired of doing something they don't like and don't care about and have created an amazing life of freedom using what they know instead of just getting paid for what they do. And now, here's your host, the Quit Working guy, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working show. What an awesome show we have today. We are going to be talking to Scottie Hobbs. Now, Scottie Hobbs has built a 6, soon-to-be 7-figure business with the Team Beachbody multi-level marketing company, and he has just had huge success, and he's going to tell us how he did it today. But the really cool thing about Scottie is his story is going to take away any excuses that you might have. Now, a lot of times what human beings tend to do is we look at somebody who's been successful and we say, oh, well, that person may have done it, but I can't because I don't have this, or I don't have that, or that person had this that I didn't have. Well, Scottie is going to take away any thoughts like that you might have in your head, because he had a really rough way to go before he became a Team Beachbody coach and before he built this successful business. So there's not a lot of looking at Scottie and saying, well, he had this advantage or that advantage, because frankly, he didn't have any advantages that I can tell, and except for his drive and his motivation, which he's going to talk about. I'll let him talk about that because he does a much better job of it than I do. But there is no reason to have any excuse for not starting a successful business after you talk to Scottie. That's why I'm so glad that we met in California at a conference, and I've been able to have him on the show. But I don't want to delay it any longer. But before we talk to Scottie, I just wanted to read a review that recently came in on the How to Quit Working book that is available at howtoquitworking.com/book. Now, I got this email from Danny in St. Louis, and here's what he had to say. He said, I've been in the restaurant industry for some 14 years with the exception of a dabble here and there. From being a cook to serving tables to various levels of management, quality and food safety and control, I currently work for a company that owns several franchises. The career path that I'm currently on seemed great. There was plenty of room for growth. My employer told me that the sky is the limit. But after reading How to Quit Working, I now realize that their sky is my limit. Well, I'm ready to reach for my own sky with no limits. In the book, you said, you don't have to know more than everyone. You just have to know more than someone. That was the one thing that I had the biggest worry about. There are lots of people out there who have been in the business much longer than I. What makes me think I can outperform them? The answer is the person that I am. I have the knowledge and expertise to excel in the field I've chosen. It's something that I'm very passionate about. The vehicle to get me there, well, that's my knowledge and expertise. Here's to many great days to come. Danny, thank you very much for the email, and I cannot wait to hear what awesome things that you do with all of the ideas and techniques that you got from How to Quit Working. Let me know how things go. Now, if you also want to get the book, you can get it at howtoquitworking.com/book. Again, that's howtoquitworking.com/book. But without any further ado, let's get to Scottie Hobbs. Scottie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Jeff.
So glad to have you here. Now, you've had a lot of success as a Beachbody coach, and you're here to kind of talk to us a little bit, to our listeners, about how have you gotten that success and what your life is kind of like now. But I want to go back in time a little bit to before you were a Beachbody coach and when you were just a regular guy working a regular job. Tell us a little bit about what you were doing before then.
Awesome, Jeff. Well, it was about, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I have right now 4 kids, but if we backtrack,
that's a lot of kids.
I know, I got a ton of them. You might hear them actually today in the background. So they're part of the reason I did what I did as a Beachbody coach, probably the biggest reason. But going back, I used to work, I'll go back just a little bit further. I went to school. I wanted to be a dentist at first, and I realized that those classes weren't for me, and I kind of just bailed out on it and took an easier route, and I went to a technical college to become a dental lab technician. And so I made crown and bridge, teeth for people, implants. And
that was a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, I had fun because I've always enjoyed art, setting my mind on a project and seeing it from the start to the end. So doing that was you see someone's mouth and the teeth are messed up, you take it through the whole process and you create a beautiful new tooth, and it kind of changes them a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you're seeing a transformation there.
So I really love that. And, I did that for, when my first daughter was born, about 7 years, I did it. But here's the thing, Jeff, and I know you and I have never talked about this, but I did it for 2 years for $11 an hour, and I got really good. I pretty much ran the whole department. It was just an owner, me, and another guy.
Okay.
And I asked for a raise and some health insurance because I had a baby for the first time and newlywed, and I was told that I didn't make the company enough money. So it really hurt me inside because I put everything I could into it.
Wow.
So I was like, we lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I was like, I'm going to move back to Idaho. That's where I'm from. See if I can find a job where I can feel more valued. So I came here, and with this talent I had of creating teeth, I looked for a job, and I got one job offer for $8 an hour.
Oh, wow.
And we know you can't make a living doing that, especially with a family. So
Yeah.
I took the first job I could because I needed some money to take care of my kid and my wife. So I started sweeping in a factory. The owner was a good friend of mine. He gave me a job. He's like, you're a hard worker. I know you're a hard worker. If you work, if you need to work 10 hours, 12 hours, for a little overtime, you can do that. But I can only pay a sweeper $9 an hour. But you can work as much as you can as long as you're working.
Okay.
So I worked hard at doing that, and kind of took the sense of just, if I work hard, I'll be rewarded later. And so I moved up through the company. Not as far as moving up, I went from a sweeper to running one of the CNC machines that cuts metal, and then I ran both of them, and I ran them on the weekends, and then I became the programmer for those machines. And then later went on to run the service department and write the manuals for the equipment. Okay. So I always went to the owner, like when I got good at something, I was like, okay, what else can I do? How else can I help? And so that's how I kind of moved up, is I was that person that was always just did more and asked for more responsibility. So I did that, and that's what I was doing when I found Beachbody, let's say. Okay. And I was, at the time I was working 12 hours a day from 5 in the morning to 5 at night.
Wow.
And I had 3 kids at the time, or 2 kids at the time. And then my wife was working at night at the Hilton in the evenings. So I was at work from 5 to 5. She was at work from 3 to 11. And, it was like, just to pay bills. We were living pretty much paycheck to paycheck at this time. And we worked hard like that, and I was exhausted all the time from working so much. I'd come home and I'd take care of my kids by myself because my wife was at work, bathe them, feed them, read them stories, put them to bed. And like, I got what you'd call, I guess, like skinny fat. I just wasn't comfortable with myself. My idea of fueling my body and having energy to make it through work and to take care of the kids was drinking Monster energy drinks, Rock Stars, and eating big breakfast burritos. Ooh. So I just got a little overweight, and I wasn't comfortable with myself. And it was actually a friend of mine came over, and he was like extremely fit. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he told me, some workouts he was doing at the gym and at home, and he showed me like how he made his pull-up bar at his house. And I was like, dude, I got to get started. You look awesome. And I feel like crap. And so he's like, you could follow, there's like programs, I know there's programs like P90X. You can do P90X at home. It's like a program, you just follow it and it has a nutrition guide. And I was like, that's probably the best for me because I don't have a clue what I'm doing with fitness or health. Mm-hmm. So I decided I was going to give, just like everything I've ever done in my life, I'm going to give 100% to this. I'm going to see the project from beginning to the end. So I committed to 90 days of it and went from 187 pounds to 145. And had abs for the first time in my life, and I was excited about it.
That's quite a transformation.
Yeah, and I learned how to eat, and I had more energy, and I was excited about life. And I know we didn't talk about this because we can't tell my whole life story in the amount of time we have, but I was like, I always suffered from self-esteem issues, which is why I dug into projects so much, because I wanted to be accepted by excelling in things. I felt I got good at something, I could get praised for it, and I would feel it would help me with my self-esteem. So same thing went with my transformation. I did that, and like people were inspired by it. Neighbors, friends from high school. There were some that are like, are you going to post another one of those transformation photos and kind of like poking fun at me. But I inspired more people than I maybe like annoyed, let's say.
Okay.
And so I was sitting at work and I was like, man, this is awesome. I was like, it'd be incredible if I could make a little extra income doing this so that my wife didn't have to work.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to come up with ideas, and so I got online and I was looking on YouTube, and I saw that there were these Beachbody coaches because I did my transformation on my own.
Okay.
And I was like, oh man, I found my coach. Her name's Lindsay. I found her online on YouTube, and I got a hold of her, and she's like, Scottie, you have amazing results. You're already doing the job of a coach, helping people and telling people about it. You're just not getting paid for it. And I was like, and honestly, to be honest, I was like, that's some scam thing. I'm not signing up online for something I don't even know. That's how I felt,
Okay.
And so I had those feelings, and so I actually like wrote like Men's Fitness and all these magazines. I like looked up contact info. I was like writing them these messages about my transformation, trying to find a way I could make some kind of income, maybe like be sponsored by something. And I knew this Beachbody thing was here the whole time. And I was watching her on Facebook and becoming friends with other Beachbody coaches. And I was just kind of stubborn, I guess you could say. But I was watching them like help people and make an income and go on some like Beachbody trips. And I was like, that's cool. And I don't know what it was. It's kind of some stubbornness. But there came a time when during this whole time I was like, man, it's like I think back on it, and I was so like in a hard place because my third daughter was born on March 19th, and so with that being said, my wife's home from work. We lost her income because she's at home on maternity leave, and it wasn't paid maternity leave, and the doctor bills are coming in from the birth of the baby, and like with my income, it was impossible to pay our bills. Like, there's just no way. Like, it'd have to go on credit cards or something would have to happen.
Oh, okay.
So I was like in this place where I was like, man, like I got to make something happen now. And I learned about signing up for a Beachbody coach, 8 months before is when I first talked to my coach, Lindsay. And
that long?
8 months of stubbornness of watching her help people and build a business from home, doing what I was like looking for, but too stubborn to do. And so like I saw them go on this trip. They're called Success Club trips, and they went on a cruise. And I was sitting in my cubicle, and my wife's at home with the baby, and it was like a culmination of like, I can't pay the bills. These guys that are doing what I'm doing, but they're like official, are on a trip, and I'm here in my cubicle, like stressed out. And so I called her and I was like, I'm ready to do this. Like, tell me what I have to do. I'm going to make it happen. And she told me, and it was like $140 to sign up. Okay. To become a coach. It was like a sign up fee, and then, and getting on the nutrition, which is called Shakeology. And I already had the workout, P90X that I was doing. And I was like, man, okay. I didn't have that money, of course. And I was like, I have to find a way to make this happen. So I bought and sold Xboxes, laptops on Craigslist for like a week, 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I would clean them up and then I would repost them and make like a $20, $30 profit. Okay.
So you're kind of refurbishing Xboxes?
Yep. Kind of refurbishing them, fix them up. So I did that. And there was like 3 Wiis I did as well. I'm thinking back on it. And so I made like $200 and I signed up as a coach. Okay. And it was kind of like asking my wife for forgiveness later. I was like, hey, I did this. And I was like, do you believe I can do that? Do you believe like I can make this happen? And she's like, I don't know about that, but I believe in you. And I think that's all I needed was someone to believe in me. And like knowing that she counted on me, like that to make this happen and to make that money back and to not put our family in more, financial stress of like paying even a $15 a month coach fee, which was what my coach fee was to become a coach monthly.
Because that was a big deal at that point.
That was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Because every dollar counted, to pay the bills and make sure we had food for the kids and the light and heat on and stuff. So I went to work on building a business, and here's one of the coolest things that's created a philosophy for me, or my mindset in building this business, is I told my coach, like, like I already loved helping people. Those 8 months when I wasn't a coach, I was helping people. I was answering emails. I was encouraging them to go get P90X or to get Insanity. So I already loved helping people. I had that part in place already. So I tell Lindsay, I'm like, okay, Lindsay, she's asking me my goals as I got started. And I didn't have internet or a smartphone at this time either, going back to the financial thing. So I went to my neighbor's house, and I did like a video call with her and these are my goals. And I was like, Lindsay, her name was Lindsay. I was like, Lindsay, I have to make $10,000 a year with Beachbody. That's my goal. Because I could bring my wife home from work.
Okay.
She made like $12,000 a year or something like that. I was like, I could bring her home. And then, I don't care if we make more money than that. I'm okay living in paycheck to paycheck. That was my mindset then. I just want to be around my wife and see her more than once a week.
Okay.
So I went to she's like, Scottie, she's like, I can't promise you $10,000 in a year with Team Beachbody, but I promise that your income will be a direct reflection of the number of lives that you can influence and make an impact on. And so that was like my mindset. I was like, I will talk to everybody. I will help as many people as I can. I don't care if they buy or not. I'm going to help them because I understand that I wasn't a buying customer of Beachbody for more than a year doing P90X, and then the 8 months of doing P90X while I should have been a coach, but I wasn't. So I was like, I understand that people won't buy sometimes, and some people will, but I'm going to help them no matter what.
Okay.
Just like my friend, even though he wasn't a coach, he helped me. He gave me advice on what to do, and it changed my life.
Okay.
So that's how I started, and it was a hard time for me, and financially, but that's what drove me.
Yeah.
I wanted to be around my wife. It was about 8 months into the business. I've been hitting my goals every single month and helping people, get into challenge groups, doing a Beachbody workout, using Beachbody nutrition, having the accountability, the best that I could give them. And it was about 8 months in, and I earned a trip for my wife and I, and that was incredible.
Wow.
But I remember I got sick with like the flu, and you know how guys are. You get the man cold, right? Where you're like almost die. So I was like that. It was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And my oldest daughter, Kina, was in school. She's the only one in school at that time, and she was 5. And I was in bed, and my wife's like, "Hey, Scottie, you gotta get out of bed, and maybe if you get up and start walking around, you'll start feeling better." Because I was laying in bed, like on my deathbed for the 3 days. So she's like, "How about you get your coat on, walk to the school bus, and get Kina? I bet that will make you feel better."
Okay.
So we live in a cul-de-sac, so I walked. I got my stuff on. I walked out. And I started walking down the cul-de-sac at 2:30. That's when she gets off the bus. And I was halfway down the cul-de-sac. There's about 5 houses. And her bus pulls up when I'm about halfway there. And she's 5 years old, got her little backpack and her big puffy coat on, her big smile. Like I see her walk down the steps of that school bus. And like it stopped me in my tracks. Like tears came down my face. Like it struck me. Like it was like this big moment of like, I never had a goal of being like a stay-at-home dad. Or I had a goal of just having my wife home, And I was already on track to be able to do that at this point, 8 months in. But when I had that moment, I realized that if I just kept doing what I was doing, it was very uncomfortable to me because I was growing and, and still self-esteem issues that I was still overcoming. And so every day was a challenge to me building this business, of reaching out and helping people and asking about their goals. But at this moment when I went to get her and she stepped out of that school bus, I realized that if I just kept challenging myself and talking to more people and growing as a person and developing into a leader to inspire others, that if I kept doing that, I would never have to miss another moment of my kid's life. Like not just her, but all 4 of them. Like I could go to every dance recital, every singing class they did. I could take them to school. I could pick them up. I could go to Girl Scouts with my daughter. I could do everything and never have to ask somebody else for my time. Because I think, during this time I'd realized that time is like the most important thing. And I'd lost in 5 years with my wife working at night and me working every day. I'd lost all that time with my wife, trying to hills. And so it's like, man, if I just keep doing this, like it's hard, this time. I'm starting a business, and anybody that's started a business knows it's hard. And I was like, if I just keep doing this and knowing that struggle is much less painful than regret, like if I keep doing this, I will never have to miss one of those moments again. And because Team Beachbody, and I'm proud to say it, is a network marketing company, like I have the ability to connect with other parents that had felt like I did, that they're missing out on time, or they'd already missed out on so much time that they want to kind of create something where they can buy back time and invest that time into their families. I realized that if I kept doing it, not only I could do that, but I could help somebody else do that. And I was like, this is I was passionate about P90X, about the health benefits of Shakeology and insanity and a life change that happens in the mind and in the body and in the health when you go through a workout and you get active like that. I was already passionate about that, but in this moment, I realized I had a bigger purpose, that I could make an impact on other people's lives and make a huge difference, in helping others, other parents, other fathers like me make an impact on, a bigger impact on their families, on other people, but in turn coming back and giving them more time for their families. And my first 3 kids are daughters. And I know for a fact that because I'm a present father, like I'm here for them every single day and a great example to them, that they will grow up making better choices on who would be a great husband for them, or choices for dating, because they have a great example through me, and I'm 100% present for them. So I was like, that's my purpose. I'm here to help other parents and other, myself and other parents, realize that they can do more, and that most of them are only living to 10% of their potential, like I was before.
So you're dialed in. You're really dialed into why you're doing what you're doing. And it sounds like when you really figured that out, and the moment of truth was when your daughter stepped off of that school bus on that day, that's when things really shifted for you, it sounds like.
Yes. And that's when I'm like, I'm all in. This is going to be a full-time thing for me. Like my life is going to be making an impact on parents, being an example of fatherhood and, and in personal growth and overcoming obstacles, and that your past doesn't define who you are, that you can find success in every single day by how you live your day, the attitude that you bring every day. And then, yes, we have awesome products that accompany it, that make you fit and feel really great, with your health. So yeah, that was like the defining moment when I really decided why. And I think if you really know why you're doing something, that's the thing that's going to, if you can reflect on that and think about that every single day, then you can go every single day and we'll just say like crush your day. Yeah. Like it's important. Like I teach like our Beachbody coaches, it's important to show up to events. Like if we have trainings or events or webinars, it's important to show up to those events. But I tell them it's more important to show up to life every single day. Like excited.
Show up to life with excitement. I love that. Scottie, a lot of people out there, I think, believe that their kids are a reason that they can't start a business. What would you say to folks like that?
Man, I say it's false thinking, because, you think you're so busy because I got kids, I got to take them to this and that, and, this dance recital, that. And like life's so rushed. And like, honestly, if you stay in that mindset, those 20 years or 18 years that they belong to you before they go off and create their own life, like it's going to fly by, and you're going to be in those same, the same routines of like, it's all about my kids, it's all about my kids, it's all about my kids, which it is. But when you can create time freedom by making some short sacrifice, by short sacrifice, I mean maybe 3 years, 5 years of taking like 2 hours out of your day or 3 hours out of your day and creating a business, like finding what you're passionate about and making a business out of it. Like if you make those short sacrifices, yes, you miss out on a little time then, but then you can create, the next 10 years that they belong to you, I guess, of complete freedom to do what you want with them, to be fully present, to take them, help them experience things they might have never experienced,
Yeah, and it's I think a lot of people are listening here. No, there's not a single person listening to this who is disagreeing and saying, no, I don't want to spend more time with my kids. I want to work a full-time job. Nobody's saying that. But what I think folks are thinking is, and you're the best person I've ever had on this show to answer this question. They're thinking, how do I get from here to there? Because like I said, we have kids, we have a job, and we need the money. And and of course it's kind of scary to start a business. Yeah. And you're somebody who, when you made your transition, the deck was really stacked against you. You didn't just have one kid or two kids. You had 4 kids. You and your wife were both working, and the hours that you gave, you probably hardly ever saw each other. And there was even an overlap, I think, where you were both working from like 3 to 5 or something. So
the kids are at the neighbor's house, and
so you had to figure out something to do with the kids there. You were living paycheck to paycheck. You didn't even have internet or a smartphone. So, I mean, you had every excuse that I could think of for someone to say, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So how did you logistically do it? How did you logistically get through all of that stuff? Because I'm just wondering, when in the heck did you even get on YouTube and talk to Lindsay and meet Lindsay and start having these conversations, much less build out a business?
Yeah, it's and this is one of the things that I love to teach my coaches and people about time management, and not only time management, but deciding what are your life goals? What's your purpose in life? What are your goals? And then, I have people write a piece of paper, get a piece of paper, put a line down the middle. On the left, put everything you do in your day, everything from walking the dog to watching the news to reading a book to driving to work, to what you do on your lunch break, everything that you do in a full day. On the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, put everything, all the things that are priorities, everything that's a priority in your life. And by priorities, I mean, first one should be family. Family should be on it, because if you're a family man, you can't have success if you leave your family behind.
Sure.
So you got the family on there, but then the priorities, you write them over there. What are the priorities that are going to align with my goals? And if there's things on that left side that don't match up with your priorities, you have to put an X through it. You have to mark it off. And, you mentioned some of the things I do, 4 kids. My wife was working. I play in a band. We play every other week. We play gigs on the weekend. We're in the recording studio on Thursday nights as well.
Cool.
And we have to practice. So there's even all this other stuff. But I did other things too, play softball, and I took my kids with me and they sat with the other parents. But at that time when I started to build this business, softball had to come off the list because it wasn't a priority. So I had to cut softball out. My hour lunch at my job was a nap because I was always exhausted. I had to cut that nap out, and I made YouTube videos in my car. I wrote blog posts in my car. I got on the phone with people that were interested in working out. My coaches that I brought onto the business with me, I had to schedule calls with them during that lunch break. And then at night, when I first started, I played Call of Duty every single night. I put the kids to bed, and that was my way to unwind, was play Call of Duty on Xbox. Uh-huh. And so I had to cut that out. And then from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night was 3 hours of focused to-do lists, make a YouTube video, make a blog post, reach out to 5 new people and build a relationship with them, or further the relationship, find out their goals, find out what they want in life, connect with them, make an invite for them to join me in a fitness challenge or to join me in this business. So it was focused, and it was not just 5 days a week, because I was building a business that I wanted to make happen. I was fighting for it, like we talked about. So I worked, 7 days a week, 3 hours a night in the evening when my kids were in bed as well. So I had to set a schedule and my priorities and then work from a list and make sure that I knocked it out. And one of the first priorities was to be proof that our products work. So I had to make sure I worked out. I had to make sure that I was becoming a better person. So I have a goal each year to read 52 personal development books.
Oh, wow.
So I read, I just started book number 9 for this year.
Cool.
So that was a huge part of it. And to help me believe in it, and I think a lot of people need to hear this part, is I got, every book that I would ever ask business owners and successful people that they've read, and I got it on my phone. And when I was working in the service department packing boxes at work, even though I couldn't work on my business, I was listening to things that I needed to hear to grow my business.
Ah.
Be a better person. So I probably listened back that first year 6 hours a day of personal development, of other coaches that built this business before me, listening to their trainings on my phone, like while I was packing boxes. So every moment that was free, like when I was driving, when I was packing boxes, I was listening to good audios, stuff to make me a better person.
Yeah.
So how to become a leader, all those types of things. So, and that really increased my belief and made me work harder, made me stay consistent and stay disciplined in what I did.
That's amazing. So, well, tell us a little bit, Scottie, what is your life like these days?
Holy smokes. It's like a dream, Jeff, like honestly.
Wow.
It's like a dream. And I remember my first friend that I met in Beachbody, aside from my coach, that we kind of teamed up as like, we call it I guess you could say an accountability partner.
Okay.
You know, hold ourselves accountable to hitting our goals and to working every day and not in working our priorities. And I remember she left her job. Her name's Katie. She lived in Pittsburgh and she built a 6-figure income with Team Beachbody, and she walked away from her job where she made like $60,000 or $70,000 a year. And I asked her about it because I don't care so much about the details on how to build it because I'll figure that out by watching everybody. But I want to know how people feel. Like, what's it like? Because that's the thing that's going to connect with me emotionally that makes me drive harder to work. And so she's like, Scott, it's been 6 weeks and I honestly feel like I'm on a 6-week vacation.
Wow.
Because she loves helping people. And like it's been a year and 8 months since I left my full-time job. Just so you guys know, I retired my wife at 12 months into building the business.
Cool.
And we built a 6-figure income in 14 months and I walked away from my job. And then 18 months later now, I'm a full-time coach. We paid off our home, which we had to refinance during that time before I became a coach. So we paid off, $170,000 on our home. We own that debt-free. We started an LLC for our Beachbody company. And, this past year we bought a dream cabin on a lake, and I get to take my coaches and our, we had some from Tennessee a couple weeks come out, and we have one from Indianapolis. We're flying out and we get to bring them. And so we have this like dream cabin on a lake that's like an hour away, right by Yellowstone National Park. And
wow.
And like, this is work for me right now. Like talking to you right now is my job. I'm sitting at home in my workout tank top still and my gym shorts. And right before that, I walked my daughter to the school bus and the other kids are in the living room. It's really like a dream, a dream life that still seems kind of strange to me, but I do work hard every single day. I work a solid 6 hours a day, making YouTube videos, encouraging people, helping people through challenge groups, doing webinars, training other coaches. And, it's been now 32 months since I started. No, 34 months. So just under 3 years. We're about a month away from building. It'll be a 7-figure income now.
Wow.
In about 1 month. And, it's incredible. We have 5 other personally sponsored coaches that we brought in this business that make a 6-figure income. One of them lives 3 miles from me, right in my hometown as well. And it's really just incredible to see people get outside their comfort zone. It's really rewarding, being able to do that. And we ended up at number 4 in the company last year. So I get to take my beautiful wife on we earned what's called a top 10 trip. And they're taking us to Rome, first class flights, everything top of the line. And, it'll be during our 8th anniversary, and we never got to have a really great honeymoon. So
oh, wow. It's
like a dream life. I worked hard for it, made a lot of sacrifices, but now it's, I work every day consistently, just Monday through Friday, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, but it doesn't feel like work because I wake up, I do my workout, I read, like an hour, and then, I make YouTube videos, blog, connect with people, talk to people on the phone about their goals and their dreams. And just to see someone come alive and have hope again, it excites me, and it makes, I wake up excited. And, sometimes I take my kids and we go up to the cabin for 3 days and I unplug for 3 or 4 days and don't touch anything. And it's like, I can't wait to get back to my routine when I get back. I enjoy that time. But by the time Monday or Tuesday comes along, I'm like, man, I got to get back into my routine. Like it's exciting for me. So it doesn't feel like work. So when I say like 18, 19 months of vacation, it's because work now for me is that rewarding.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's incredible. It's hard to explain.
That's amazing. Now you're not an old guy. You're probably early 30s.
I'm 32 years old.
All right.
So
So you've got a long life ahead of you. What's next?
man, so yeah, I always have to think about that because we talked about like why you do this. Like, so we know why I did this. Like I wanted that time with my family,
Uh-huh.
with my wife, with my kids. And so now I have that. So like what's going to keep me fighting to continue building this business, to not get comfortable and just sit here
Yeah.
and post off of everybody else that's now building the business? Because we could do that. But I feel such a sense of fulfillment in helping other people reach their potential and see people hit their goals and begin to live their dream life, let's say, or really find their purpose. I find so much sense in that. But what's next for me? I honestly I want to inspire hundreds of thousands of people. I'm not the best speaker in person. Like I'm a kind of an awkward person. I've always been quiet and self-esteem issues. So I mean, when we met each other, we talked in the hot tub. You can tell I'm kind of quiet. I'm laid back.
I'm not sure that I got that, but
Well,
and
I was just know that from the inside, it's a lot of energy for me to create that,
okay.
like to
Okay.
create those types of conversations. So
Uh-huh.
I still have to work on myself a lot.
Sure.
But one of my big goal, I was able to retire my mother from a job that she did not enjoy, that caused a lot of stress to
Awesome.
her, and she is now my personal assistant and works on her own schedule from home. And it helped her get off of antidepressant medication, just being away from her stressful job situation and helping
Wow.
me and finding she has like a purpose, like she gets to create now for me, like helping me, and she gets to work from home. So that's been really awesome, and that kind of helped me develop a little bit more of like what's next. And my dad has worked his butt off for, since he was 35 years at the same job.
Okay.
And like he loves the outdoors. Every time I take him up to the cabin, he tears up and feels like he's in some dream life, with what we've created.
Wow.
And I want to take him up there and I want to fish and I want to hike and I want to explore the mountains with him because that's what he loves. So I want to create this. I will drive this business and like I set money goals, like my 7-figure goal, like to make a 7-figure income a year was been a goal, but it's like, I don't need that money really, but I know with that I can create freedom as well for my parents that I know have fought their whole life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to create that freedom for my parents as well as for my wife, for her parents. They brought her, she's 27, they brought her and their 7 kids from Bolivia when my wife was 2 years old, and both parents have worked about 2 jobs their whole life, the past 25 years. And, they still have a mortgage and they still work, both of them, a couple jobs. So I want to create something for them where maybe they're like a full-time nanny when needed and give them a salary, take care of their bills, get rid of their mortgage, and they can enjoy the rest of their life. They're in their early 60s. Just help them out with that. So I have goals to help make that impact on family that I know have fought and struggled over the past years. So as far as my family, that's what I want to do with that. That's what drives me now to keep doing it, to go for the top 10. Actually, I set a goal to be the top coach in the company this year out of 140,000. So I set that big goal not to be recognized as number one, but because I know what type of business it will create, that I can tie purpose to that money, to that what will be created by that. And long term, I want to write books. I want to speak on stages and inspire people to realize that the path doesn't define you. That you can, you need to find your success not based on like your. Talking about my company, for example, Beachbody, not talking about your rank or what income you make, but finding success in knowing what your purpose is and your ability to, create a schedule or a list and to work on that list and knowing that if you did your job that day with all your heart, passion, and with a sense of purpose, and made an impact on somebody's life, 1, 2, 3 people's life that day in some way, added value to them, that's a successful day. And if you live a life like that and find success in that daily activity, the result will follow. Not just in my business, but in any business. Just knowing that you can find that success in everyday activity, that you can be happy, you can live an awesome life by changing your attitude and the way you think. So I want to inspire people, not just in my company, but all across the country, the world. So
I think you've done that here on the How to Quit Working show, and I thank you for that. But one of the questions I want to ask you is, what's the biggest mistake that you made on this journey that you've been on?
Oh man. Okay. So the past year, Jeff, I've always been, I've always worried what people thought about me. So I was always afraid of hurting people's feelings or being judged. So I always wanted to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I didn't do in the first year that I started to do in the second year and this year is to tell more truth than flattery. Because telling somebody the truth is what's going to help them move forward in life. If you just flatter them and they're not doing something they should be doing with their life, and you're just like, just cheering them on like, yeah, you're doing great. When there's something missing, you're going to handicap them more than help them. So one big mistake I made was telling more flattery in the beginning, being more of a cheerleader, rather than actually telling people the truth. Like telling people this is what, like, you want to, if it's someone in their fitness journey or someone building a business and I know they bust their butt for a week and then they slack for a week and then they bust their week, I'd be like, it's okay, just come back, work hard. You're doing great. I had that mentality because I didn't want to offend them. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, I know, like, if you want to build a business or you want to have results, you have to be consistent. You got to show up every single day for your customers, for your people, for yourself. And so that's the biggest mistake I did, was telling more flattery, being more, hey, you're doing great, just keep going, things will work out. Now telling more truth to people, like, hey, like, this is what you need, X, Y, Z. You're doing this wrong. I love you. And I know this is your goal. This is what you want. And if we want that to happen, you have to change this activity. Like, you can't be excited today and then throw up on people about how bad your day is the next day. You have to control your emotion. You have to become a master of your emotions, and be positive, be enthusiastic, because that's what people want to follow, somebody that's enthusiastic, for example. So I have to tell people more directly, like, hey, this is what's wrong right now, and give them the sandwich. This is what you're really good at. This is what we need to work on. You're really good at this, and help them move past whatever it is that's holding them back.
Amazing, amazing advice. Scottie,
So,
what's the one piece of advice that you'd like to leave folks with who are listening to this show?
oh man, I get this question a lot. Like, it's kind of similar to the question, like, what's the one tip to success? You could give me one tip.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's so many tips, but I think whatever it is you're doing, most of you guys are I'm assuming are entrepreneurs and trying to build something.
Yeah.
Is waiting. Like, so many people wait for everything for the stars to line up, everything to be perfect before taking action. And things will never be perfect. Like, I have failures every single day. So my biggest piece of advice is to learn, look to somebody that's doing what you want to do. Learn from them by their example or a book they read or whatever, and then immediately apply it. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Immediately apply what you learn, and know that you're going to fail at it. Like, you're going to fail, but you got to step back up and you got to try again until you get it down. And if you can do that, and I tell my people all the time, it's important to know what to do, but it's more important to do what you know. So any tips or advice that you hear today from me that you can apply to your life, whether it's making sacrifices or discovering your why or finding success in your daily activity, You've learned that. Now the important thing is to go out and apply it. And going back to the one thing is I say, and this is a Scottie philosophy, is if you look at what your results are going to be, it's like 85% of your result is going to be your enthusiasm and your attitude, your positive attitude about what you're doing. 15% on the actual details or the ins and outs of learning it. And 85% your attitude. Because if you do something with the right attitude and the right mindset, the result is going to be reflected by the belief you have in it and the mindset that you have about it. So I hope that makes sense to you. It's like, I've seen people with amazing transformations trying to build a Beachbody business, but if they have a wrong attitude or a lack of belief in themselves, and they could do all the activity I do with the lack of belief and the wrong attitude, and they can have zero results. But if they have a positive attitude and a goal and a belief that they're going to be there and a positive attitude about life every single day, that's going to be reflected in the result by the activity that they take every single day.
It's amazing, amazing advice. Thank you so much for that. Now, tell us, before we wrap up, tell us where we can go to get more information about you and who might want to go there and get that information.
Anybody? Oh, this is a great question. So thanks for asking this question, actually.
Yeah.
Anybody that needs to live a healthier lifestyle, and just you talking to me, like, yes, I have people come to me that want to build a business by helping people with health and fitness. That's what we do with Beachbody workouts like P90X, Insanity, Body Beast, Turbo Fire. You've seen them on all the infomercials. Those are our workouts. And then we have Shakeology, which is, a dense nutrition, a meal replacement, a health shake. So we have all these workouts and we help people, if you want to live healthier, if you have problems with high cholesterol, blood pressure, you're just not happy with your weight and where you're at, anybody that needs help with that, I'm here for you. We're here to help you, get in shape, get healthy, live a healthier lifestyle. And those of you that are perhaps already healthy and you want to, make an impact on people and help other people get healthy and maintain a healthy lifestyle yourself, and then be able to help other people, that's the kind of person that I'm looking to help as well, because I can help you and be a mentor in building a business of helping people with our Beachbody products. So anybody that, basically needs help with health and fitness or looking to build a business of helping people with health and fitness products, I'm here for you. The best way to get a hold of me is to email me. Okay. And I'll just tell you what the email is. It's Coach Scottie Hobbs. So it's CoachScottieHobbs @hotmail.com. Or I have a website called www.scottiehobbs.com. And then once again, that's ScottieHobbs.com. And if you go there, there's tons of transformations. You can see of people we've helped, different products. But the best way to get a hold of me, there's a contact me button, or there's a become a coach button where I have like a form that you can fill out with goals of things you want to change about your life and things, so I can get to know you a little bit. There you can put your email, your phone number, when's the best time to contact you, and then I can get a hold of you that way. Those are the best ways. And then of course I'm on Facebook. We're maxed out on friends, unfortunately, but you can click follow and you can send me a message on there. It's just Scottie Hobbs. There's a before after picture as a profile picture. So it's hard to miss if you type it in. So that's the best way to get a hold of me, Jeff, and I'm here to serve.
Well, we're going to put all of that information below the show, so if you didn't catch it, just scroll down, whether you're on YouTube or on my site, or if you're on iTunes, just click over to the site. It'll take you right there, and you'll get all of Scottie's information. Scottie, thank you so much for being on the show. I immensely appreciate this advice that you've given to our listeners, and I know our listeners loved hearing it. I loved talking to you, and I look forward to staying in touch and seeing what amazing things that you do in the future.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it so much, Jeff. It was awesome being able to speak with you guys today.
What an awesome episode of the How to Quit Working show with Scottie Hobbs. Go over to ScottieHobbs.com. That's SCOTTIE Hobbs, HOBBS.com. and look at what he has to offer. Look at what he can do for you if you want to get in better shape, as well as if you want to become a coach. There's also a Become a Coach link on his site, or you can click directly to it from this page if you just scroll down below on the episode page on howtoquitworking.com. Scottie shared some really, really great stuff with us. And like I said at the beginning, he started this business when he was living paycheck to paycheck. Him and his wife were both working with 4 kids, and they were both working. He was working days, she was working nights. There was an overlap when they had to send the kids to the neighbor's house. He didn't have a computer, he didn't have a smartphone, and he didn't have a lot of self-confidence when he began. I mean, how could the deck be more stacked against him? But he still managed to push through and make it happen. And that's what I think is so awesome about Scottie's story. And I'm so glad that we could bring that to you here on this week's episode of the How to Quit Working Show. And, I normally like to kind of unpack the lessons that we hear from our guests, but I just don't see any reason to say any more, because I think Scottie said it all. He just doesn't have any excuses, and that's why he's been so extremely successful. So go over to ScottieHobbs.com and see what he can offer to you. See if there is anything over there that's of interest to you. Now, also, if you'd like to hear more stories from people like Scottie, my book, How to Quit Working, has about, I think it's 13 or 14 stories from successful people just like Scottie who have built amazing lifestyles, amazing businesses, and lifestyle is first. It's all about lifestyle. People are having, some of the people in the stories have had great financial success, but more importantly, at the end of the day, they just get to do what they want to do every single day. They get up and do what they want to do. So head over to howtoquitworking.com/book and pick up your copy of How to Quit Working. There's also $150 worth of bonuses, a free video training that comes along with that, free audio training, lots of great stuff for that, and that is for a limited time. So go over to howtoquitworking.com/book and pick up your copy, and I look forward to talking to you next week when we're going to have another amazing guest on the show who's going to tell us exactly how they have left their job and created an amazing lifestyle for themselves.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working Show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.